Good morning, everybody. This is Matt with the Christian Journey series again. Uh, Today, I wanted to go over something a little different, more unique than I've done in some of my other videos. Uh, this personally, for me, is something that I thought was kind of hilarious, and like how God has used music personally in my own life to communicate messages at random times when I needed them. Um, I don't really have a scripted out thing for this one where I've written a lot down. I kind of just want to go over more individual songs, maybe some lyrics. And I'll start with this one's probably a song I want to imagine a lot of people have heard, especially if you've watched the movie Lion King. It's the Elton John song "Can You Feel the Love Tonight." Um, there's a line in that song that's one very prophetic, and it has a very deep meaning for a lot of those of us who are struggling to find love, at least what real love is. Um, in my own life, I've personally thought I found love quite a few times, and I would say about 99% of the time I was wrong. It wasn't until this last person that I tried to be with that I kind of started figuring out what love really was. And part of that was I try to give patience and kindness to people, even if they don't really deserve it in most cases. Um, Going back to the song though, there's a lyric in the song that pops up. It's the twist and kaleidoscope takes us all in turn. It's really interesting that line pops up in a song, and that song specifically, because what it's really saying is that there's a time and a place for it, and we're all kind of like on a kaleidoscope, and when the kaleidoscope gets turned, it changes the way we see things. The funny thing in my own life, I'd seen some friends who I told that things would eventually happen, and they were very, nah, that's never going to happen, that's not for me. Meanwhile, I'm out here being crazy and chasing it around, and I can admit that. I probably chase love more than most people should. Um, which has kind of led me into some not so great situations, if truth be told, too. Uh, but God has spoken a myriad of ways to me through songs, like going with that song. Um, there's a lot of songs I just really enjoy that'll pop up. Some of the songs are maybe for motivational purposes to work harder, especially with workout. Some songs that came up recently. There's a song called "I'll Be the Last to Leave." It's really funny because the video on YouTube they use an image of knights and stuff like that. This song for me has a really, really deep meaning as well, but it's partially because I've always thought that I was going to be someone that was going to be fighting for everything that I wanted and that I was going to have to put everything on the line. And so far, that's been pretty true. Um, I think for me, a lot of things are going to be harder than what most people will have to do. Some people will find a lot of things easy that I'm going to struggle very hard to do. Um, I think part of that also is that whatever God's building me up for personally, it's going to require a great deal of effort. Now, with this song, I'll be the last to leave. What it's talking about is this is the kind of person that gets everyone else out of the fire, but chooses to remain to guard the door so that whatever caused the fire doesn't come after everyone else. And that person's going to remain there until they know it's safe or until everyone else is to safety themselves. There's some other songs like Beast Mode On. Beast Mode On is a kind of a workout song for me. Uh, part of it is it talks about like burning out all your weaknesses and like going beyond what your expectation is. Stop worrying about everyone else's expectations. There's also a song called "Think Like a King." I've had a lot of people put the idea in my head that I had king-like qualities, and I think a lot of people have a misconception of what a king is. This song is actually a really great highlight to how I feel about it. Truth is that I've always wanted to lead people, and I've always wanted to be a good leader. Like one of the characters on my list that I'm going to do a video for separately is King Arthur, and I've always thought that King Arthur had that ideal want of like what a king could be, as far as what humans are capable of. I'm not talking about like Jesus. Jesus is the ideal king, but King Arthur was the ideal man as a king with human weaknesses. And the thing with this is that the reason why I find this line or this song so important is that what it talks about is like if you strip away everything, fancy shoes, a crown, the clothing, the entourage, all the people around, that will show you what a real king is, because a lot of people have these really fake personas and fake lives. Me personally, like, you could take away everything in this room and it wouldn't make a difference. I'd still try. I'd still fight. And the song kind of embodies that spirit, because one of the things she was like talking about in the song is being a king is not the stuff you have, the stuff that you want, the things that you buy. It's a mindset. And a real king, when he cares about people, with a lack of better terms, and sorry, God, for cussing, but a real king doesn't give a damn. And I think that's okay. If I'm truly honest with myself, I've spent too much time trying to please everybody. And part of it was because I really genuinely care about people. And I hope one day that the people that have walked away, or even those who, if I'm being honest, I felt have wronged me in ways, I hope they wake up and realize that the king that they thought they were seeing wasn't this guy with a crown and some crazy castle, and it was the person that was putting everyone else before himself. And if I'm being honest with everybody, as much time as I've spent trying to figure out how to value myself better, I'm still going to put other people before me. It's just who I am, and I don't plan on changing that. I think in a way that also is very Jesus-like, because Jesus was very good at sacrificing himself. I'm hoping this is kind of illustrating a little bit too with the songs. There's a couple of other songs. One's called "I Am the Sword." One's called "I Am the Shield." Um, Again, both of them are knight songs. It kind of goes back with the whole "I'll be the last to leave" mentality, and I'll be a think like a king. Because that brings a question to real leadership and real kings. What makes a person a real king? What makes a person a real leader? And I don't think there's any black or gray for any of this. I think there's a truth, and it's only. Dang it. Um, there's a real truth to what a real leader is and what a real king is. And I think in order to be either of those things, you have to put everyone before yourself. You have to be willing to sacrifice the things that you want, the things that you desire, to make sure everyone else is taken care of. And the thing with that is this, that I hope one day that I get the opportunity to be a father and raise my sons to be even better than what I hope that people will eventually see that I am. I'm not a perfect human being by any stretch of the imagination. I've made mistakes. And actually is kind of highlighted with one of these other songs that's on here. I've gotten angry a lot over the course of the last like few years, especially with myself. And a lot of people do this. I try not to hold things against other people because when I do get angry, a lot of it's a lot of self-reflecting and realizing that I was angry with myself. I was angry at myself for maybe being the doormat, being the pushover. Uh, which gives me to this other song. It's called "I'm Not Angry, I'm Just Done." You do hit a certain point in your life, and this song spoke to me in a way that was really interesting because like I had a situation occur where I realized I'm no longer angry with this person. I'm just done because I realized that my words have fallen short, and that person's probably never going to hear what I said or understand what I was saying. In fact, I don't know if that person ever really truly cared, to be honest. That's my burden to bear, or my burden to bear, and I'll figure it out. It's not going to be easy. Uh, I also haven't asked God for easy. I asked God to give me the hardest battle possible because not out of pride or ego, but because if I was going to become the leader that I desired to be, I knew that my battles needed to be harder. And I didn't want excuses. And sometimes I'm full of them, which is human nature. But there's all sorts of songs and stuff and the way they connect with you. Um, Kind of just wanted to highlight a little bit of it because there's other songs that I've had over the course of years. One of my favorite songs is called "The Cowboy in Me," and it talks about all these urges, the restlessness, the heart of stone, which is another biblical principle. And the thing is this: even as a Christian, sometimes those things are going to happen. And whilst we need to pray to have our hearts softened and stuff, I'm not saying that sin's okay or anything like that, but I am saying it is okay to be human because God realizes that we're always going to fall short of expectation and perfection. And even if we try to do everything perfectly, we're even going to make mistakes in that. Anyways, I hope that this video finds you guys well and like this gives some enlightenment to like maybe how music can be used, and I hope maybe you all start hearing things in songs and stuff too, because I think this is something that just naturally can happen with anybody. Anyways, you guys have a great day.